All right, let's dive into the energy building up around Celtic right now because the Champions League is back. And tomorrow night, under the lights at Celtic Park, it's time to face Kairat, the current champions of Kazakhstan. Now, usually, before a big European night, there's a sense of mystery around our opponents, especially when we're up against a team from outside the usual football spotlight. But this time, there's something even more intriguing happening in the background. The rumors are swirling, the whispers getting louder, and yes, we're talking Jamie Vardy, but hold on, we'll get to that in a bit. First off, Kairat have arrived in Glasgow, and they've been spotted enjoying the city, quite literally bumping into locals in the most Scottish way possible, at the sauna. Apparently, the team's been making use of a spa and gym at a local hotel, the same one that's frequented by a few regulars from the area. There's a funny sort of psychological game there, isn't it? One minute you're preparing for a Champions League clash, the next you're sharing a sauna with a local, wearing shorts and cracking jokes. Welcome to Glasgow, lads! But here's the real point. Celtic should be winning this game. Full stop. Now, that's not arrogance. It's just the truth. Yes, Kairat are champions in their own right, but when you stack up the quality of both, squads, the experience, the home advantage, the expectations, there's only one outcome fans want to see. And that's a proper statement performance. We've seen it before. Think back to Astana, 5-0 at home, tied dead before the second leg. That's the kind of night we're hoping for. Get it done early. Don't let it drag. Now there are a few warnings, of course. Kairat have fought their way through 3 qualifying rounds already. That's not nothing. They've shown resilience, they've dealt with adversity. Just look at the way they handled Slovan Bratislava. Conceded a sloppy goal, battled back, took it to penalties, and got the job done. That kind of grit will give them belief. But belief alone isn't going to be enough when they step out at Celtic Park and feel that crowd roar for the first time. That's when things get real. From a tactical point of view, Kairat aren't exactly a possession-based team. They're more direct, more physical. They've got a big lad up top, Edmilson, who'll try to cause problems, and a couple of quick wingers who'll look to catch us out on the break. There's a young star too, Dastan Saparbayev, who's already got a move to Chelsea, lined up, and he's no slouch either. But let's be honest, their defensive line, that's where their opportunities lie. A 37-year-old center-half going up against the pace we can offer, that's where we can cause real damage. You put Maida or Yang or even Ado down that side, and you're asking serious questions of a defense that probably hasn't faced anything like it this season. The atmosphere tomorrow night is going to be something else. But if Celtic start the way they did on Friday against Falkirk, relentless pressing, pinning the opponent back early, then this tie could start to look very one-sided very quickly. That's the level of intensity we need. Don't give them a chance to settle. Don't let them grow into the game. You want their players looking at the clock after 10 minutes, hoping for halftime. That's the mentality. High press, quick transitions, get the crowd involved. If we do that, we're on the right path. But of course, this Celtic squad isn't perfect right now. Far from it. The transfer window has left everyone feeling frustrated. Brendan Rodgers is working with a squad that's clearly not complete. Still some glaring gaps up front and out wide. And the left-back situation is, well, let's call it a puzzle. Kieran Tierney might not be ready for a full 90, and the depth just isn't there in some areas. And that's where the bigger conversation starts to creep in about the club's ambitions, about a board, about what kind of transfer strategy we're really looking at. Which brings us right into the heart of one of the biggest talking points of the week, Jamie Vardy. Now, when the rumor first came up, most folk probably thought it was just paper talk, just noise. But the story's picking up steam. Reports down south are saying Vardy is genuinely pushing for a move to Celtic. He's a free agent. He's keen for a reunion with Brendan Rodgers, and he's targeting playing until he's 40. It's wild. It's unexpected. But is it really that far-fetched? Let's talk facts. Last season, Jamie Vardy scored 9 goals and had 4 assists in a poor Leicester City side in the Premier League. The season before, in the Championship, he bagged 18 goals. That's not a washed-up striker. That's a proven goal scorer who, despite being 38, still knows where the net is. And here's the key. He's not coming in to develop, he's coming in to deliver. Right now. But the reaction from the fans is split. And understandably so. On one hand, there's excitement. He's a big name, a legend of the English game, and the idea of him pulling on a Celtic shirt in the Champions League is genuinely mouth-watering. But on the other hand, it raises big questions. Is this really the direction the club should be taking? Are we about to pin our hopes on a striker pushing 40 because we failed to properly recruit earlier in the window? That's the frustration. It's not that Vardy can't do a job. He clearly can. It's that we're even in this position to begin with. Celtic have the money. We got the scouting network. This isn't about a lack of options. It's about decision making. And the fact that we're now looking at a free agent with a week left in the window feels like panic. It feels like a scramble. And fans have every right to expect better. This isn't just about Jamie Vardy, the player. It's about what his potential signing says about the club's ambition. Because let's be honest, if we were bringing Vardy in alongside another big money striker, maybe a younger forward with upside, and a proper winger to replace what we've lost, then this move would be celebrated. It would make sense as part of a bigger picture. But right now it feels like a sticking plaster, a big name to paper over a summer of missed opportunities. And this isn't the first time we've seen it. Remember when Aaron Mui arrived? People said he was past it. Came from China or hadn't kicked a ball in months. And what happened? He turned into one of our most reliable performers. Brilliant on the ball, smart with his movement. The kind of player who just understood how to manage a game. Now Vardy's in a different role, obviously, but you get the comparison. Sometimes experience really does count. Sometimes you need a bit of know-how to get through the big nights. And Brendan clearly still believes in Vardy. That's the other thing. When Rodgers speaks about the transfer situation, there's a shift in tone. Last week he was unsure. This week he's saying, hopefully. That's not by accident. That's a manager who knows something's happening in the background. And with the Champions League squad registration deadline looming, the timing couldn't be more critical. But whether Vardy arrives or not, the game tomorrow still needs to be won. And that means every single player in that starting 11 needs to be locked in from the first whistle. There's no room for slow starts. No excuse for sloppy play. You're at home, under the lights, in front of 60,000. That's the kind of night players dream about. So whoever Rodgers picks, whether it's Yang or Forrest, whether it's Hatate or Bernardo, they've got to be ready to go. And speaking of team selection, that midfield is going to be crucial. Callum McGregor pulling the strings, Hatate hopefully back in to give us that forward drive, and then maybe Bernardo keeping his place after a solid showing. Up front, we've still got to wait and see what Rodgers does. Maida should start. Ado has earned his place. And on the right, that might still go to James Forrest. Experience again playing a key role in a big European night. The backline pretty much picks itself at this point. Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, and Tierney, if he can last. And of course, Schmeichel in goal. Now, that's one area we've genuinely strengthened. His leadership, his presence, it's already made a difference. And while his contract situation isn't sorted yet, you'd like to think that will come with time. So the setup's there, the stage is set. And despite everything, the transfer frustrations, the injury concerns, the questions about ambition, there's still a real chance to make a statement tomorrow. A chance to show that Celtic aren't just here to make up the numbers in Europe. A chance to remind everyone exactly what this club is about when it matters most. Now, let's get into what really matters tomorrow night, the performance. Because as much as we can talk about transfers, frustrations, and missed opportunities, once that whistle blows, none of it matters if the 11 on the pitch get the job done. Celtic Park under the lights in Europe has seen some incredible nights. We've seen giants fall here. And for a team like Kairat coming into that atmosphere with that pressure, it's a whole different world compared to what they're used to. And Celtic need to make that count from -1. There's a psychological advantage when you've got 60,000 fans breathing down your neck. The key is using that to set the tempo early. We saw it on Friday night, that opening spell against Falkirk, where we didn't just play with intensity, we played with purpose. Straight away, pressing high, forcing mistakes, pinning them back. It might have been a domestic cup tie, but the attitude was spot on. That's exactly the mindset we need again. Only sharper, faster, more ruthless. Because make no mistake, Kairat won't come here just to roll over. They've battled through 3 rounds to get here. They've got pride, they've got belief. But what they don't have is the kind of experience we've got. They don't have the players who've been through these nights before. And that's where we need to exploit every weakness. Take their backline, for example. It's not just slow, it's old. The center-back pairing has a combined age pushing 70. No disrespect, but that's not what you want to be dealing with when Maida is bearing down on you at full speed. Add in someone like Yang or even Ado cutting in, making those diagonal runs, and suddenly you're asking defenders to do things their bodies probably aren't capable of doing anymore. That's not being cruel. That's being clinical. That's exactly where Celtic need to target. High balls in behind, quick switches of play, dragging them out of shape. Just wear them down. And let's not forget, these Kairat players are still adjusting to the time difference. Kickoff is at midnight for them on their body clock. They've traveled halfway across the continent. Even if they're doing everything right in terms of preparation, that's going to take its toll. So again, the first 15-20 minutes are huge. Set the tone. Make them feel every bit of that journey and make it clear from the off that there's no fairy tale happening here tonight. But to do that, Celtic need to be sharp in midfield. That's where games like this are won. And that's where the big selection headache comes in. Does Rodgers bring Hattari back in? Or does he stick with Bernardo, who was excellent last time out? Does he play both? You've got Callum McGregor in there, the heartbeat as always, but around him there's a decision to make. And it's not just about form, it's about balance. Hatate gives you that drive from midfield, the ability to carry the ball forward, break lines, slip passes in behind. Bernardo's more measured, maybe a bit safer, but he brings control, especially when we need to manage the tempo. Then there's the set piece threat. It might not be glamorous, but on nights like this, it can be decisive. That's where someone like Bernardo, or even Engels, if he starts, can offer something different. Deliveries into the box, second balls, chaos in the area. It's not the Celtic way of old, but in Europe, you take every advantage you can get. You look at how teams have undone us in the past with a simple corner or free kick. There's no reason we can't flip that and use it to our benefit. And we'll need goals, not just one or two. We need a statement. 3, 4 if we can. Because going away to Kazakhstan with a narrow lead is asking for trouble. We all remember Cluj. We all remember what happens when you leave the door slightly ajar. And with no away goals rule, there's no reason not to go for the jugular at home. Take the risks. Push bodies forward. Give the fans something to roar about. Now let's talk about the wide areas. That's another conundrum. On the right, does James Forrest keep his place? He's got experience. He knows how to handle these nights. But is he still the best option? Or does Yang deserve a start after what he showed on Friday? He came on, changed the game, ran at defenders with confidence. You could argue that's exactly what we need from the start tomorrow. But again, Rodgers might value the safety and know-how of Forrest. Then there's the possibility of Negron playing out wide. But Rodgers hasn't looked convinced by that. He sees him as a central player, and based on his comments, I'd be surprised if he's pushed wide again. More likely, it's Maida on the left, Ado through the middle, and then either Forrest or Yang on the right. And speaking of Ado, what a rise it's been. A player who looked like a project, someone for the future, and yet here he is potentially leading the line in one of the most important games of the season. He's not the finished article, but he brings energy, he brings movement, and he's got an eye for goal. Against a slow backline, he could be the difference maker. And look, it's no secret that the number 9 position is still a problem. For Celtic, that's why the Vardy links are dominating the conversation. But until someone walks through that door, Ado is the guy. And he's shown enough recently to suggest he's up for the fight. At the back, things are a bit more settled. Carter Vickers is the rock as always. Beside him, Liam Scales has done enough to keep his place. And while he's not the flashiest defender, he's steady. He does the basics right. And with Tierney hopefully able to give us at least an hour on the left, we've got the foundations to build from. Alistair Johnston on the right brings that bit of bite and drive. And then, of course, Kasper Schmeichel in goal. That's a real upgrade. The leadership, the communication, it's already made a difference. And on nights like this, when things get tense, you want someone back there who's been through it all. He won't panic. He won't flap. And that calmness spreads through the whole team. Now, beyond the team itself, let's talk about a bigger picture. This game isn't just about reaching the next round. It's about momentum. It's about sending a message to the fans, to the board, to Europe. Celtic need to show they're not just scraping through ties. They're here to dominate, to show that the badge still carries weight on this stage. And for the fans who've watched a summer of indecision and missed opportunities, they deserve a night to believe again. Because the truth is, the mood around the club right now is mixed. There's excitement, sure, but there's also frustration. The window opened in June. We knew the areas that needed strengthening. We knew a striker was essential. And yet here, we are, with 10 days to go, linked with a 38-year-old free agent and no other confirmed signings on the horizon. It's not good enough. Not for a club of this size. Not when you've got Champions League football on the line. The fans have been patient. They've backed the team. Now they want to see that ambition matched. And that's why tomorrow night matters so much. A big win doesn't just put us in a strong position, it lifts the whole place. It buys time. It reminds everyone what this team is capable of when it clicks. And it puts pressure on the board to deliver in the final stretch of the window. Because let's be honest, if we do our job tomorrow, we're one step closer to the group stages. And once you're in, it's a different ball game altogether. That's where the real money is. That's where the real exposure comes. And that's where the squad will be tested week in, week out. So the reinforcements have to come. Vardy or not, we need more. And we need it now. Back to Kairat for a moment. There's respect there. They've earned the right to be here. But they're not unbeatable. They're not even at the level of the top European sides we've faced in recent years. This isn't Real Madrid or Leipzig. This is a team that's still finding its identity on this stage. And while they've got a few exciting players, Jorginho on the wing, Saporbayev in midfield, Edmilson up front, they're not used to playing at the pace we do. That's our advantage. Use it. You watch them on tape and it's clear. They're well organized, but they're vulnerable. Under pressure. Slovan Bratislava show that. And if a team like Slovan can open them up with a simple move, Celtic should be creating chances for fun. But again, that only happens if the attitude is right. No complacency, no coasting. Treat it like a final. Get in front, then go for the kill. Because if we leave the door open even slightly, the second leg becomes a nightmare. The travel, the conditions, the time zone, it all stacks up. And while Celtic are more than capable of going away and getting a result, it's far better to put it beyond doubt now. Make the return leg a formality. Give Rodgers the luxury of rotating. Let the younger lads get a taste of European football without the pressure. That's what we should be aiming for. So tomorrow night is all about intent. From the first whistle, play with purpose, play with belief. Show that this team isn't just about potential, it's about delivery. And if the fans bring the noise, if the players bring the fire, then we could be in for a special night. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Shockwaves are rippling through Scottish football this week after rumors emerged that Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian superstar currently dazzling in the Premier League and on the world stage, could be on the brink of an astonishing switch to Celtic. The whispers began late last night on social media before seeping into more traditional outlets, with supporters from Glasgow to Cairo speculating feverishly about whether such a sensational deal could possibly be real. Fans of the hoops are daring to dream of Salah pulling on the famous green and white hoops at Parkhead, while others are dismissing the story as nothing more than fanciful gossip. Yet, the timing of the speculation is intriguing, given that Celtic have been hinting at an unprecedented move to elevate their European ambitions. And Salah's name being attached to such chatter instantly propels the rumor mill into overdrive. Observers note that the player has achieved nearly everything with Liverpool. And with his contract situation often the subject of debate, some wonder if a left field adventure in Scotland could represent a surprising new chapter in his glittering career. The very thought of Salah lining up in Glasgow has electrified discussions and unsettled rivals alike. The buzz around this supposed deal is not merely about the shock value of Salah's name linked to Celtic, but rather the claim that it could become the most expensive contract in the club's history, possibly even across the Scottish League as a whole. Those familiar with Celtic's cautious financial approach find it difficult to believe that the board would sanction such astronomical wages, yet whispers suggest there may be an extraordinary commercial strategy at play. Salah's global profile, from Africa to Asia and beyond, could transform Celtic's brand recognition overnight, potentially offsetting the outlay through sponsorships, merchandise, and international broadcasting rights. Supporters imagine Parkhead filled not only with local fans, but also tourists and football lovers making pilgrimages simply to watch Salah perform. Skeptics argue that these calculations border on fantasy, as Scottish football has rarely operated on such a scale, but others point to the game's modern realities where marketing clout can outweigh traditional constraints. If there is even a fraction of truth behind the numbers being bandied about, Celtic may be preparing to smash every convention and stake a bold claim as a European powerhouse in a way that has not been attempted in decades. Within the dressing room, speculation about Salah's potential arrival could be equally disruptive and inspiring, depending on how the rumor unfolds. For current Celtic forwards, the idea of competing with one of the world's finest attackers might appear daunting, yet the opportunity to train alongside him would also elevate their standards dramatically. Young players could find themselves absorbing lessons from a Ballon d'Or contender, while seasoned professionals might relish the chance to prove themselves on a higher stage. Coaches would face the challenge of rethinking formations, strategies, and even the tempo of their play to accommodate a footballer of Salah's caliber, someone known for his blistering pace, ruthless finishing, and relentless work rate. Questions also emerge regarding the potential ripple effect on Scottish Premiership rivals. Could this move attract more elite players to the league, or would it highlight the gulf between Celtic and their competitors, creating an imbalance difficult to repair? Either way, the conversation already paints a picture of a seismic change in the dynamics of domestic football, where one star name could redefine both the expectations and the aspirations of every club involved. The hypothetical becomes thrilling, precisely because of its implausibility. For the supporters, this rumor operates less as cold analysis and more as fuel for imagination, a rare chance to dream without restraint. Across fan forums, pubs, and social gatherings, the chatter takes on the tone of legend in the making. Salah's dazzling runs lighting up Hampden Park on cup final days, his name ringing around Ibrox during an Old Firm clash, his smile gracing billboards across the city. Many Celtic supporters grew up with tales of great players choosing the club for its atmosphere, passion, and a history. And while modern football is often dictated by finances, some cling to the hope that Salah could be swayed by intangibles such as tradition and the promise of immortality within a new footballing culture. Critics deride such optimism as naive, pointing out that the Scottish Premiership cannot compete with the riches of England, Spain, or Saudi Arabia. Yet football thrives on the unexpected, on stories that defy the odds, and until the rumors are quashed or confirmed, the excitement spreads unchecked. Even rival fans, despite scoffing publicly, must secretly shudder at the thought of defending against Salah on a cold winter night in Glasgow. Hope has a power that facts cannot suppress. What remains now is a waiting game, as murmurs evolve into debates and debates into headlines, with Celtic at the center of a swirling storm of intrigue. If there is any truth, even partial, behind these rumors, the club would find itself thrust into a new era defined by ambition, audacity, and a willingness to gamble on a global icon. If, however, this story proves no more than idle gossip, it still serves a purpose, reminding everyone of the scale of dreams that football can inspire. In Scotland, where financial limitations often dictate the ceiling of ambition, the mere mention of Salah's name has injected adrenaline into the conversation, raising questions about what might be possible if tradition and modern commerce are daringly fused. For Mohamed Salah himself, the rumors may be nothing more than background noise. Yet his legacy ensures that wherever his name is linked, entire fan bases will hold their breath. Until clarity arrives, Celtic's faithful will continue to wonder, rivals will continue to doubt, and the footballing world will continue to talk. And in the end, perhaps that chatter is precisely what keeps the sport alive, the tantalizing possibility that the impossible could one day come true. Hello fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.